Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, where we talk all things travel and all things transformation, exploring the life-changing potential of solo travel, intentional travel, and location-independent working. Whether you're an aspiring digital nomad or simply wish to boost your confidence through epic travel experiences, I'm here to motivate and inspire you to go after all your wildest dreams. I'm Jessica Grace Coleman, author, certified travel coach, founder of the Travel Transformation Company, and your host for the Travel Transformation Podcast. Travel changed my life. Now let's change yours. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, where we talk all things travel and all things transformation. My name is Jessica Grace Coleman, but you can call me Jess. And today I'm just going to do a quickie episode titled, Can You Slumdog Millionaire Your Own Life? AKA How to Start Manifesting Your Dream Future. Now, I've made a few notes on this, but I just started thinking about this yesterday. I'm not sure why I started thinking about this, but there we go. I don't know if you've seen the film Slumdog Millionaire, but it got me thinking, and I haven't watched it recently, so I'm going to give you a summary in a bit, but if I've missed bits out, it's because I haven't seen it in actual years. I have an in-joke with some of my friends about the Jai-Ho song that came with the movie, which is a really good song, but we annoy each other with it. Anyway, I'm already going off on a tangent. Now, I'm not talking about going on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which is what the plot of Slumdog Millionaire is, the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And again, I'll give you a summary in a minute. But it's not about doing that and winning lots of money. I think I'd get so nervous if I went on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that my mind would go blank and I wouldn't even be able to answer the first question right. No, what I'm talking about is how our past experiences have led us to who we are now, and how we can pinpoint exact incidents and experiences and encounters, even if they seem like nothing at the time, and connect them to what we're doing now. And also I want to talk about how we can then use this knowledge going forward into the future. And I'm only talking about positive things here, or seemingly neutral things that led to positive outcomes. I'm sure we're all aware how negative experiences can influence our lives for the worse, but let's stay positive here. So for those of you who haven't seen Slumdog Millionaire, here's a summary of the film as given to me by Uncle ChatGPT. And it contains a few spoilers, so if you don't want to know, just fast forward the next 30 seconds or so, but also maybe just don't listen to this podcast episode because I'm sure we're going to let out a big spoiler at some point. But it came out in 2008, so I think spoiler warnings maybe not necessary at this point. But Slumdog Millionaire is a 2008 film directed by Danny Boyle, based on the novel Q&A by Vikas Swarup. Sorry if I got that wrong. The story follows Jamal Malik, a young man from the slums of Mumbai who becomes a contestant on the Indian version of the game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. As Jamal progresses through the game, he surprises everyone by answering every question correctly, leading the show's host and the authorities to suspect him of cheating, mainly because of where he came from. Through a series of flashbacks, the film reveals Jamal's tumultuous life story, including his experiences growing up in the slums, his relationship with his brother Salim, and his love for Latika, a girl he meets as a child. Ultimately, Jamal's journey on the game show intertwines with his quest to reunite with Latika and overcome the challenges of poverty and exploitation. Slumdog Millionaire explores themes of love, destiny, and the resilience of the human spirit amidst adversity. So that was what Uncle ChatGPT gave me. So basically, yeah, he answers the questions correctly as he goes through, and no one believes that he could know the answers because of where he came from, his upbringing. You know, he's not like this rich person with a good education, so how could he possibly know all the answers to these questions? And it's kind of like, like it says, destiny, fate, everything he's been through, a lot of the bad things he's been through, a lot of just the things he's been through has given him the answers to the questions. And it's a really good film. You should watch it. But it made me think about each thing I've gone through, each thing we've gone through, all our experiences, how we can apply it to what we're doing now. So he could look back in the film and actually pinpoint moments in his life, even if they were really tiny moments that didn't seem like they meant anything. Some of them were big moments. He can pinpoint the moment he learnt this piece of information that would later help him in this game show. And I think it's interesting to look back and see how we can join the dots. I think there's a Steve Jobs quote about how you can only join the dots looking back, not looking forward, something like that. I probably butchered it. But how we can connect the dots and see how they've helped us grow, helped us learn things to get to where we are now. And there is a second part to this, as I mentioned. But first, I want us to do a little exercise together and look back at our life. Now, the first thing I thought of was interviewing people. So as you've heard on this podcast, I interview quite a lot of people. I actually started interviewing people as a teenager. I interviewed bands and artists, musicians for a couple of online zines. I don't know if that term is used anymore. I think I started by my friend Susie won a competition. I can't remember what it was on, but it was basically, she won a piece of clothing from a music video from this band Bowling for Soup, who we loved and who we still love. She won the t-shirt from the Emily video, and she also won backstage passes for their gig in Liverpool. And I tagged along with her, as did our friend Joe, and we basically hung out with Bowling for Soup and all this for hours, like before the show. And it was amazing. I was 15 or 16. I was really, really introverted, really, really shy, didn't know what to say. And we were just hanging out backstage with these, 30-something-year-old, if they were in their 30s then, something like that. Basically pop punk stars from America. And it was very surreal, very weird, but I wrote up a summary of our evening, posted it on one of the band forums, Kamikaze Shots. Do the forums exist these days? I don't know, I'm so not down with the kids. But someone read that and he had his own music zine, Just Wanna Rock, and he asked me and Susie if we wanted to not work for him because we didn't get paid, but if we wanted to go and interview bands, review gigs, that kind of stuff. Review CDs back in the day when streaming wasn't a thing. And we kind of did get paid because we got free tickets and backstage passes a lot of the time. So we started doing that. After a while, I made my own website, Rock Pulse, and me and Susie continued doing interviews and things like that. And this was all through my teen years when I was really, really, really shy and introverted. So the fact that I did this at all is quite amazing to me looking back. And so this is a good exercise to make you look back and, really appreciate all the hard stuff you did when you were younger. But anyway, that's how I got a lot of experience interviewing bands. We did it in person. Some of them were over the phone. Some of them were, the phone one's pretty awkward. Some of them were over email, over text, or, talking online. Most of them were in person though, when they were doing gigs in sort of nearby-ish areas to us. So we were in the Midlands, so it was Birmingham, Manchester, Wolverhampton, Liverpool. And our parents, mine and Susie's parents, took turns driving us there and back. Anyway, I'm going off a massive tangent. I got experience interviewing people, and now doing a podcast, it didn't really even occur to me that some people might start a podcast and be terrified of the thought of interviewing people. I was terrified of the thought of doing a podcast and putting myself out there, but the interviewing people, I thought, I could do that. I've been doing it since I was 15 or 16. So that is an obvious connection I made, when I started the podcast months and months and months ago. So that is one thing that is really obvious to me looking back, but there are some less obvious things. I remember when I was in primary school, I don't even know how old I was, we went to a hotel in England somewhere, and they had one of those packs for kids to keep you occupied. So it had colouring in and all that kind of stuff. And it also came with this teeny tiny little round sticker that you stuck on the wall. But it was also, the surface of it was like a blackboard, and you got some chalk with it as well. And I remember sticking this on my wall in my bedroom and pretending to teach no one about certain subjects. I can't even remember what I was teaching them now. It might have been maths or something. I don't know, something crazy. And I've always said over and over again, I have never, ever wanted to be a teacher in my life. I really respect, have admiration for teachers. I just couldn't do it. I'm not great with kids. I'm not great with, controlling kids or all that stuff. So that was never something I wanted to do. But thinking about it now, things I do on my podcast when I go through exercises and things like that, that's teaching. I do online courses, which is basically me teaching people how to do things. And I've always said I don't want to be a teacher. I would never want to be a teacher. But when I think back when I was younger and I had my tiny little chalkboard and I was teaching invisible people things about maths and English, it kind of makes me think. And I'm like, that connects too. That's a really big dot that I can connect. And there's loads of stuff like this. It doesn't just have to be with, what you do for work or hobbies. I've talked on this podcast a lot about how I went on a lot of road trip holidays when I was younger with my family, especially ones around the States, which I loved. And because of that, I ended up going to university in Colorado for a year as part of my year abroad. And because of that, I've gone back to the States several times, and I love road trips. I've done road trips in the UK, in the States, in New Zealand. And yeah, it's one of my favorite type of trip. So I can definitely link that back. And as part of that, we used to pick one CD, basically, one album per trip. I'm sure we had more than one, but sort of relate certain albums to certain trips. And one of them was Garth Brooks. It might have been his greatest hits or something like that. And we just listened to it over and over again. Are you ready for adventure? Are you ready to become location independent? Are you ready to create your ultimate dream lifestyle? Then I have just the thing for you. The Flip the Script Academy with me, Jessica Grace Coleman. My online academy, which is bursting with life-changing courses and resources, is for anyone who feels stuck in life, wants to make a change, would like more meaning and purpose in their life, wants to shake things up, especially after the pandemic, wants to start or grow a business or side hustle they can run from the road, wants to incorporate travel into their lives in all kinds of different ways, or is simply ready for an epic transformation. For more info, just head to traveltransformationcoach.com/academy. And now, back to the Travel Transformation Podcast. And now I'm a big country music fan, which I don't think I would have been if not for that CD, because we played it over and over and over again. And I don't know many people personally in the UK who are into country music. It's not something you sort of grow up with in England. And yeah, that definitely shaped who I am. I love country music. I've just booked to go and see one of my favourite country bands, Little Big Town. They're coming to the UK later this year. Really excited about that. But yeah, it's just all little things like that that make you the person you are today. And it can be really fun to look back. And it can also be really eye-opening. And like I say, it can also really make you appreciate the things you did when you were younger that made you who you are today. It's comforting looking back and feeling in alignment with things because you've been experiencing these things and enjoying doing these things for years and years and years, and you can sort of realize why. Another thing I noticed looking back, which I have mentioned before, is that I loved media studies at school. When I was in sixth form, we did this trailer we had to make. So I learnt just the basics, but I learned how to edit film, do filming, edit it, put music to it, do all the cuts, all the transitions, all that stuff. Very basic stuff, but I really enjoyed it. Now I edit my own videos for my website, for social media, for my courses, all that stuff. I don't have to pay anyone else to do that. I actually enjoy doing it myself, even if it is quite time consuming. And also I will be editing every single bit of my DIY documentary, Movify Your Life, which I am filming this year. And hopefully it will be out next year if it doesn't take me forever to edit it. But it's things like that as well, and realizing, looking back, what lights you up and making sure you're doing that now in some capacity or other. So I really enjoyed editing and filming, and that's what I'm doing for my documentary projects this year. So if you're not doing stuff that lights you up, how can you incorporate that into your life going forward, which is what I'm going to talk about in a minute. So yeah, we've seen how we have got to the point and the person we are today by looking back and connecting the dots of how we got here. So now we're going to look forward into the future and figure out what we need to do now to make sure we become the person we want to be in the future, or have the career we want to have in the future, or have the lifestyle we want to have in the future. Let's reverse engineer it. I don't know why I always remember this. I remember such a random stuff. Don't know why. But I remember listening to Chris Moyle's breakfast show when he was on Radio 1. And I don't know if he's still like this now, but he was sort of known as being quite blunt and direct. And I remember one of the callers, a sort of teenage girl, said to him, I want to be a radio DJ. Like, that is my dream. And he was like, oh, cool. So what are you doing about that? And she was like, what? And he was like, well, are you doing a course? Are you doing a degree? Are you getting training? Have you had any work experience? And she was like, no. And he was like, well, how are you going to be a radio DJ then? You can't just say, I want to be a radio DJ and then do nothing about it, because this is just not going to happen. And I don't know why that always stuck with me. And I was like, yeah, so many people say, I have a dream to be this, but they never take any practical steps towards it, which makes zero sense. Either it's because they don't actually think it's feasible for them, they don't believe they can do it, or they're sort of lying to themselves. They keep saying, one day I'll do this, while deep down knowing that they're never going to do it. Maybe they're scared of failure, maybe they're scared of success, maybe they just don't believe someone like them can do it, and I totally get it. But I always think back to that and I'm like, yeah, if you want something, you can't just say it. You can't just write it down on a piece of paper and shove it in a drawer, manifest it and do nothing about it and expect to be a famous author or actor or whatever in, 5 years' time. And I think this is where manifesting gets a bad rap, because some people think that is what it means, and that you literally just write something down, put it in a drawer, and, that thing is going to happen because you believe in it. And belief is very important, don't get me wrong, but you also have to do the work. That's how it works. I'll just tell you the story of my friend Ruth and the pink rubber duck. She did an exercise, like a manifesting exercise. I don't know if it was from a book or something, a while ago. And it was basically an exercise in, can you manifest something random and just see if it works? So she chose a pink rubber duck, like a bathroom duck. And she told me, our mutual friend Vicky, about it, travel buddies. And we're all into this self-development stuff, mindset stuff as well. So we were like, okay, we'll keep an eye out for the pink duck. And then every time we came across something that was, a rubber duck, but not pink, or a pink duck, but not a rubber duck, we would send it to her. We'd send pictures. She'd be like, oh, haven't quite manifested it yet. But then I went to Switzerland and I found a pink rubber duck in this shop. Unfortunately, I didn't buy it for Ruth because Switzerland is very expensive, and it was a very expensive rubber duck, and I had not a lot of money left because I've been traveling. So I took a picture of it anyway and sent it to her, and I was like, the thought's there. I found your pink rubber duck. And she was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then since then, I think Vicky's bought her a Christmas decoration of a pink rubber duck. I bought her like a little crystal pink duck, not a rubber duck. And it's kind of become this thing. And this is what manifesting is all about. If she'd just done this exercise, written down, I'm going to look for a pink rubber duck, and then never thought about it again, she would not be bombarded with pink ducks. The fact that she wrote it down, she told us, and then we then kept our eyes peeled for rubber ducks, pink rubber ducks. That is how she got bombarded with pink rubber ducks. She told other people, and they took it upon themselves. We took it upon ourselves to also, go on the pink rubber duck mission. And that is how it works. You have to tell people what you're doing, what you're after, what you want. You have to do the work towards it. You have to actually look around for pink rubber ducks and don't expect they're going to come to you. And you have to be open to opportunities when they arise. So that person who wanted to be a radio DJ, she could absolutely do that. That is not an unattainable dream. She would just have to get some work experience, read some books about it, listen to a podcast. There weren't podcasts back then, but similar things, do an online course on it, all that kind of good stuff. If she told everyone in her life she wanted to be a radio DJ, maybe someone she knows would know someone who worked in a radio station, that kind of thing. It's all who you know, not what you know. And that, for me anyway, I'm not a huge expert on manifesting or anything, but that is what it's all about. If you just keep it to yourself, it's not going to happen. If you tell everyone about it, and they keep their eyes open, keep their ears open for opportunities and things like that, you're far more likely to get there. So, are you doing that now with the life, the career, and the lifestyle you want to have? And if you're not, then I'm here to tell you, you're probably not going to get there just by chance. that is not how it works. So we first looked back and connected the dots in terms of how past experiences have shaped the person you are today. Now we're going to look forward and decide who you want to be, what career you want to have, what adventures you want to have, what places you want to visit, what new things you want to try, what lifestyle you want to have, and then start thinking about what you need to do right now to get to that point. That point in Slumdog Millionaire when he faces the final question with $1 million on the line. Now, do you need to read more books on a particular subject? Do you need to take some online courses on a particular subject? Do you need to enroll in some local classes or do an open university type degree? Do you need to get certified in something? Do you need to hire someone to help you, like a trainer, a coach, or a mentor? Do you need to look after yourself better so you actually have the energy to pursue all these goals? Do you need to book that plane ticket to the place you've always wanted to get to someday? Do you need to announce your intention to the world, or at least to your friends and family? Write down everything you can think of to do with either the lifestyle you want, the career you want, or the person you want to become. And if you need to, break it down into the smallest component parts and think, what could I do today, next week, next month, this year to get myself on the right track? And it could be, like I say, something as easy as listening to a podcast on the subject or ordering a book to get you on the right path. But we need to actually do something. We can't just say we want to be a famous author and then never write anything. We can't say we want to be a famous actress and then never take classes or go to auditions. It won't work. You're never going to get a pink rubber duck unless you tell everyone about it, or you might accidentally stumble upon one. But you get what I mean. I'm doing this right now. I love online courses anyway, but I am taking an iPhone photography / video course at the moment because I'm using my iPhone to film footage from my Movify Your Life documentary, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I thought, it's not that much. I can just pay for this course. I can figure out what I'm doing more, learn all about composition, all the different modes on the iPhone, how you can get great pictures and great video. And that is going to help me in the months and years to come. So it's just thinking about what skills you need to hone and actually doing something about it. So write it all down and then do it, because life is short and most of us probably aren't going to go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or win the lottery. So we need to make things happen for ourselves. We need to manifest the life we want and then actually do the work to get there. Don't just assume it's going to happen. We need to give the universe some help. We need to Slumdog Millionaire our lives by first looking back before looking to the future. Because life should be as exciting and memorable and meaningful as an epic movie. So don't settle for less. Please let me know what you thought about this episode. I thought it was quite interesting, but I'm literally just speaking to no one here. I'm speaking out into the ether. It would be really great to get your feedback, just to know that people are listening. I mean, I know people are listening, but to know that people are getting what I'm saying. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you going to do any of this? Just please let me know. It'd be nice to get some feedback. You can email me at info@traveltransformationcoach.com. You can DM me on Instagram at traveltransformationcoach. And you can leave a review of this podcast if you're on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that lets you leave a review. I would be very, very, very grateful for that. So yeah, that's it for this week. Have fun slumdog millionairing your life and manifesting your future. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you for listening to the Travel Transformation Podcast with me, Jessica Grace Coleman. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, rate and review, and spread the word, because it's my mission to help as many people as possible to flip the script on their lives and transform through travel. And remember, life is short, so let's make sure it's nothing short of amazing. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.